Hello Virgo, welcome. I'm glad you are here. Every month leaves its own symbols. Today let's discover what August may be reflecting, not only through tarot, but also through the sky above us. We have the Ace of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and our oracle card is Beauty. We'll return to this in just a moment. Let's begin with the month itself. August opens beneath a steady yet transformative sky for you, Virgo. Jupiter continues his journey through Leo, where it will remain until July 2027. For Virgo, this illuminates your 12th house, the realm of subconscious and what is hidden. Jupiter expands whatever is ready to be seen, because Jupiter is moving through your 12th house. Old fears, hidden beliefs, and quiet patterns may become easier to recognize, not to overwhelm you, but to help you understand yourself with greater compassion. This month also brings two especially meaningful events. On August 12th, we experience both a new moon and a solar eclipse in Leo. A new moon marks a beginning. An eclipse often brings a deeper reset. Together, they invite us to release what no longer reflects who we are becoming, making space for something more authentic to emerge. The sky doesn't force change. It creates moments that invite it. August feels like one of those moments. This eclipse may quietly reshape the relationship you have with yourself before it reshapes the relationship you have with others. The 12th house is sometimes called the house of self-undoing, where perfectionism, old guilt, and unconscious habits quietly live. This eclipse invites you to release what has been waiting on you from within, so you can meet the world with greater peace. I'd like to share two reflections to capture the spirit of this moment. Beyond applause. When approval becomes your measure, the soul grows tired. Release the need for validation, comparison, and endless pursuit. True worth is not performed, it's remembered. Come home to what is real, not what is seen. As Jupiter expands Leo's energy, it also enlarges whatever is waiting to be seen. That includes our gifts and sometimes our shadows. This card asks us, where do I still measure my worth through someone else's eyes? Where I have forgotten that my value has always existed, even when no one is watching. Sometimes the strongest foundation we can build is the quiet confidence that no longer depends on applause. The inner sun, a new beginning of self-remembering. Step into the light that has always lived within you. Honor your inner child, your source of joy, creativity, and truth. You are not becoming the light, you are returning to it. Once we loosen our grip on external approval, something beautiful begins to awaken. The inner sun reminds us that our deepest confidence has never come from outside ourselves. It has always lived within. Perhaps your greatest work this month isn't becoming a better version of yourself, but allowing yourself to believe you were never as incomplete as you imagined. That return to yourself may become one of the August's greatest gifts. Toward the end of the month, on August 28th, we have the full moon and lunar eclipse in Pisces. For Virgo, this illuminates your 7th house, the house of partnerships. This lunation may ask you for balance and emotional honesty in business and romantic relationships, inviting relationships where honesty and reciprocity can breathe more freely. After a month of new beginnings, the full moon reminds us that not everything needs to be solved. Some things simply ask to be released. The circle of giving. We are here to give from our hearts, and we are here to receive with grace. True balance is not in giving more, but in honoring the sacred flow between both. Together we rise, together we heal. Many of us find it easier to give than receive. We offer our time, our energy, our care, but struggle to accept support when it is offered back. This full moon invites a balance, to share your gifts freely and to receive with the same openness. Because giving and receiving are not opposites, they complete one another. Virgo often gives quietly, without asking for recognition. This full moon gently reminds you that allowing others to support you is also an act of trust. The skies often ask us to grow. The cards often ask us to look within. Neither can choose our path for us, but together they remind us that meaning is something we create. Now let's return to the cards. The Ace of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and our Oracle card is Beauty. Taken together, these cards don't tell four separate stories. They tell one continuous story which begins with a single spark, the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands often shows up when something new is asking for your attention. Not everything begins with certainty. Sometimes it begins with curiosity, maybe excitement, an idea you can't quite explain, a feeling that something within you has started to awaken. In this card, the salamander carefully holds the living flame. It holds still. It protects what has just come alive. For Virgo, after a month of reflecting on what lives beneath the surface, this May feels like recognizing a possibility that has been quietly waiting for your attention. The universe doesn't always begin with the breakthrough. Sometimes it begins by placing one meaningful opportunity into your hands. The Page of Pentacles reminds us that every lasting achievement begins as something small, a new skill, a single step. The page doesn't rush. She studies, learns, observes. She understands that growth is not measured by speed, but by care. Virgo is naturally gifted at refining, learning, and improving. This card reminds you that careful attention is not holding you back. It may be exactly what allows this new beginning to take root. Sometimes we underestimate small beginnings because we're already thinking about the finish line. But almost everything meaningful begins exactly this way. Then the energy starts moving with the Eight of Wands. She seems almost carried by the current rather than pushing against it. This is not movement born from pressure. It's movement born from readiness. Momentum begins to replace hesitation. If August asks you to release old fears or perfectionism, this card suggests that the energy you spent carrying those burdens may now be available to move something forward. Sometimes life doesn't ask us to push harder. It simply asks whether we are ready to move with the opportunities already unfolding around us. Our final card is Beauty. At first glance, it may seem to speak only of appearance, but in Bellini, beauty reaches much deeper. It speaks of harmony, balance, grace. and pleasant solutions finding their way into our lives. Because this is also a Jupiter card. It reminds us that growth doesn't always come through force. It often expands naturally once the right foundation has been laid. For Virgo, this beautifully echoes the month's invitation toward greater inner peace. As you become more aligned with yourself, life may begin reflecting the same harmony outward. Looking at these cards together, we begin with a spark. We nurture it with patience. We allow it to gather momentum. And eventually we discover harmony where uncertainty once lived. The cards don't promise perfection. They simply remind us that meaningful growth often begins much smaller than we imagine. It grows one choice, one step, one moment of trust at a time. And maybe that's the message these cards have been holding from the very beginning. The universe doesn't always begin with a breakthrough. Sometimes it begins by placing one meaningful opportunity into your hands. Thank you for spending these moments with me. Take what speaks to your own experience. Leave behind whatever belongs to another path. And I'll see you in the next reading.